Greetings, my people. It's Mr. PDT yet again on another episode with the Enlightenment series. Currently in South Africa, there's a guy called Bester who literally escaped from prison together with his so-called lover, girlfriend, who's also a doctor. So we're actually having that kind of a conversation, and the circumstances of his escape, it led to a body, like an entire body, being found burnt inside his prison cell, and he actually managed to convince the authorities that it was his body that was found buried, did I say buried? Burned inside his prison cell. So everyone believed that the guy died, whilst the guy had escaped prison and went away with his lover called Dr. something something. She's a very wonderful and beautiful woman. So when we were having that discussion of that story, it brought me back to the issue of one of the biggest charlatans from Nigeria, who most of you think is dead. And I've told you, in one of the few episodes that I've done, I told you that TB Joshua is still alive. So in the midst of a conversation I was having with my brother, he is brilliant. If you have not heard enough of him on this platform, you surely have quite a lot of him on this platform. Like I told you before, he's an author, he's a writer, he's a journalist based in the United Kingdom. Super smart, super intelligent. So let's pick his brain in as far as most of you might want to call it a conspiracy theory of TB Joshua's state of life. And most of you might want to have some sort of proof of life to prove that TB Joshua is still alive. But before we even get there, that is probably the finish line. I want to walk you through some few processes or some few steps, pointers that can help you navigate or maybe get an understanding of where I'm coming from and where I'm going. I still stand my position, because what I'm saying here about TB Joshua is not hearsay. I did not hear this from some gossip mongers or village gossipers. It's first-hand information, and when Mr. PDT tells you that it's first-hand information, believe him, it is first-hand information. My brother, brilliant, Pongo, tell me, what do you think? Do you think that TB Joshua is alive or he's gone?
Well, TB Joshua would like us to believe he's dead.
He would like us to believe he's dead.
He'd like us to believe he's dead. And he's convinced a lot of people that he is dead. But there are a few things that we need to look at.
Exactly. Those are the things that I also want you to pay attention to. Just have an open mind, my people. Do not be too quick to be defensive. I know most of our people, especially Christians and believers, you're too quick to become so traditional and have these strongholds that limits your free thinking. Just relax, my people. I know you love TB Joshua, most of you, and most of you will be ready to, to engage. Some of you are even insulting me already in the comment section. I'm not a prophet, but I already know what's happening right now. Leave that man alone. Leave the dead to bed. Come on, that man is not dead. And even if he was dead, we would not let him off the leash. The wicked will never rest. So what are things that need to be looked at?
Right. So it is in TB Joshua's interest and those that are around him that know to make us believe that he's dead. So the whole plan was concocted to make the world believe. And here's the first one. When they exposed his body, his corpse, so-called, in a clear casket for everyone to see. The reason why that was done,
in a transparent casket.
In a transparent casket, he's put there to lie in state, and then there was almost like expose of trying to show that he's dead. Why did they try so hard to make us see and convince us that he's dead? That should be a red flag right there. Why put him in that sort of state to make? The reason is that they wanted people to make us say we saw him.
We saw him. He died.
Dead. But what evidence or proof beyond what we have just seen, which could have been anything? It could have been a dummy that's in there, that's made to appear like him. And then we say we saw. So they are now giving us evidence of his death. No one gives evidence in that sort of way. even when the Queen of England died.
Do you know what I'm doing right now? I'm actually Googling to check the coffin of the Queen of England.
The Queen of England died. They did not put her in a clear casket to say she is dead. In case there are people that don't believe that she's dead, here's the evidence. But with TB Joshua, they went out of their way to show us evidence that he is dead.
And what is the motive?
Why?
Why in a glass casket?
Let's ask ourselves that why. Now, the second thing there is, when they then went to bury...
Okay, just wait a minute. This is the Queen, an entire Queen of England. He's not in a transparent coffin because they're not trying to make anyone believe that she's gone. Why? Because she's really, really gone. Why would they want to make the world believe that TB Joshua is gone by placing him in a transparent coffin? They want you to question it. Because his death was very mysterious. It was too fast.
They started to create evidence
already
to convince us and the rest of those that follow that he is actually dead. So there's a creation here of evidence to suggest that TB Joshua is dead. Then the second thing that we need to look at is where was he buried, and when he was buried, what sort of evidence now is there to say that he's buried? They bury him in a private place. Where is he buried?
Inside the shrine, in synagogue. And he was now buried in an enclosed coffin. It was not that transparent that they paraded.
So the dummy is out of the glass thing, and they are now just putting something that is empty into a place that is enclosed. It's not even a place where it's easily accessed.
Exactly. You are still raising a point that why was he actually buried inside the synagogue? He could have been put on the prayer mountain somewhere where his grave can be exposed, like the graves of Roman Catholic martyrs. They're all over the place. They are in different mountains where people can go and, worship their saints. Roman Catholics have that tendency of freezing saints and call them martyrs and keep on, doing these rituals of going there and praying on those coffins or on those mountains in which their so-called martyrs died. But it's not a conversation about the Catholic today. We're still, talking about the charlatan Joshua.
So this guy is now buried in a place inside a synagogue. This is a private place. That even today, if we were to raise enough concern to say we don't think he's dead, the exhumation of that is a long process that nobody would even be interested in doing, because why would they go to a private place to dig him up? Simply because Mr. PDT here said that he's not dead.
Who's Mr. PDT anyway?
Who is he? So for all we know, TB Joshua right now as we speak could be anywhere in the world. He could be in the Amazon jungle, right on the Amazon River, fishing for trout or whatever it is that he wants. He's out there.
And he's there watching us, like people resting him in peace, wishing him all the...
And he's out there. But then people will say, why would he want to fake his own death? There are multiple reasons why he would want to do that.
Okay, give us one. We will not explore the rest of the reasons. We'll touch them.
Those in the know, those that are in Nigeria, this guy had just started something, created, he shook a lot of things. Angered very powerful people.
True.
And because of that, he knew that this is not going to give him peace. So the only way you could get peace was to fake a death so he could rest in peace. This is where he is right now.
So he's indeed resting in peace.
Right now, but we're not going to let him rest.
He can't rest.
Charlatan.
Do you know what? One of the people that he angered is Adeboye. Adeboye actually once did a video about Joshua, and he was not happy with the ways of TB Joshua's conduct. It's not only Adeboye. There are so many other people that were after TB Joshua. Not only so many other people. There was just a recent crisis at his shrine, which consumed more than 130 lives when his shrine collapsed. He did not even have an answer as to what could have triggered the collapse of that entire shrine.
He bribed. Openly bribed.
Do you know what he said?
A number of journalists.
He said it was because of an electronic or supersonic interaction of a jet that was spotted by a CCTV footage that could have made the building collapse. But if you look at how the building collapsed, that was a thing that was set up. They did it deliberately. It was never an accident. There's no any supersonic waves that can cause an entire structure like that building in synagogue to fall down the way that it fell down. We will look at all those things at a very much later stage. But TB Joshua is resting.
He was let go. He was let go. He managed to maneuver.
He did.
That one. There is even footage of him bribing journalists.
For real?
Yes.
Okay.
To cover up that story.
And do you know, for people to go and do an investigation on that site, it took them a long time. For bodies that were buried in those rubbles to be repatriated to their countries of origin, TB Joshua made it very difficult for that process to happen. Not only that, do you know that those bodies, when they were repatriated to their original countries, to their countries of origin, they were in bags. And TB Joshua's team told the relatives of these people that they should not open those bags because they might not be able to stomach what they will see. The question that I'll ask now is, were those bodies the actual bodies of their so-called relatives that were buried in TB Joshua's shrine? And do you know what? The first one that they played on the families, they came and then they started paying them off as if they are doing a good deed. 50,000 rands per family. Go and do the burial for your families. Those families in bags. And do you think you can have peace after doing things like that? Do you think you can ever rest in peace after such atrocities? This is human life, my people. You just let these charlatans, scot-free. You just let them walk away simply because you believe they are being used by God. But 130 lives have died. And you say, okay, he's a man of God. They were in service. Wake the hell up, you people. Wake the hell up. This man must never rest in peace wherever he is resting.
Wherever he is right now, you could be in the Amazon. You could be right in plain sight. You could be in Nigeria. You could be anywhere. But time. This story that we're talking about, the current one that's taking place here in South Africa, Bester guy, the Facebook rapist, whatever it is that they called him.
The one who escaped from prison.
That guy, he thought he'd made it. But time, everybody believed the guy was dead. The cops that they found in his cell, which caught fire, they said they ran DNA tests on that and it was him. But today he's breathing, he's alive, he's been repatriated, he's been brought back.
He's been extradited
back to South Africa to face justice. So the issue now is, when this charlatan of charlatans comes back, is he going to say he was dead and is now resurrected? Because he could pull that one on us.
He can. And people will believe him.
Yes. And he might actually take 3 years, not 3 days.
Oh.
And then he reappears. They still believe, those that follow him, they still believe he's going to come back.
I'm telling
Some
you.
of them believe he's going to come back.
That could be the reason why they have him inside the synagogue.
This is the level of deprivation of thought that some of our people that are Christians or call themselves Christians, that follow after these charlatans, this is the level that they're at, that they believe anything that is stupid. So for us to actually come up with something, truth is not stupid. Truth is difficult for many to believe simply because it's devoid of stupidity. But when we turn something and make it as stupid can be, many people will listen and follow. That is the tool that these charlatans use. I've been fighting charlatans for a long time.
A very long time.
I came up with most of these charlatans and stuff.
Their templates.
And their templates. And they I know how they operate.
In and out.
Yeah.
I've told you people that, Brilliant has been like the PR guy, the main guy behind almost most of the things that any of these charlatans that you know today can do or are doing. And they're still using the very same template. that he provided for them on a very silver platter. Because he's a PR guy.
In their own words, in the words of the charlatans, we wrote this syllabus.
That's what they should know.
That's what they should know. And right now, me just being here with you, there are a lot that are shaking in their boots right now. There are a lot.
They're wetting their pants.
Wetting their pants.
Because they know what he knows and what he is capable of. And now we've just scraped the surface. The TB Joshua one, we're just scraping the surface, my people. We're just programming you and preparing you for the actual things that will truly awaken you and expose you to the truth. Exposing Joshua will actually make all of you understand the level of charlatanism of these vouchers that you call your prophets and your DDGOs. I stand my ground, my people. Just wait for more pieces of information that are yet to come, because if I just bring everything to you now, I know the capacity of some of the people that are watching us. They can't stomach everything when it is dished out in one course.
It's like a piece of a puzzle, like pieces of a puzzle. There are 1,000 pieces to this puzzle. You can give the whole picture in puzzle form, but they can't put the pieces together. So what we got to do is build this piece by piece, and the picture will show in the end.
Until you connect the dots yourself. I'm not going to spoon feed you. I'm just going to give you pointers. We will give you pointers. It will be up to you to still remain adamant as well and say, no, there's no way he can be alive. We watched him. Yeah, you watched what they wanted you to watch. So that when a time like this comes,
you ask yourself, why did they show you a body in a glass casket? Why did they show that? There's reason behind that. The reason, as we said already, was so that you can say, we saw him. We saw him dead. You have now in your head, you've created a file that has evidence.
You have evidence already.
You have evidence because you
saw him.
You saw him. But if I ask you, how did you prove that it was him? How do you know it was not a dummy in there? How do you know that there was not a makeup artist, some guy that could make a model of this nature to depict a dead TB Joshua? How do you know? Do you have 100% evidence that it was not him? Do you have 100%? Do we have 100% that it was not him? Do you have 100% that it was him? Now, question. Don't believe everything you hear. Question everything that is said from the mouths of those charlatans. Question everything that is said by those that say you should not question. But when people say question this, question that, give it a go. It doesn't hurt you to question anything. It opens up your mind. This is what this is all about. Enlightening series that Mr. PDT here is doing. Great job, Baru.
We're just trying to inspire some critical thinking. Just wait for it till we meet you again on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. Thank you, Mr. Brilliant, for coming through. And hope you brace up and put on your seatbelts, because those of you that are of little faith, you're going to be shaken. There's going to be a turbulence. This information is not going to settle well with most of you. But be that as it may, we're out.